Hi, this is Roger. Thanks for dropping by. Before I take the camera off the tripod, I'd just like to mention, because there have been a few comments, shall we say, that although this is fundamentally an orchid channel, it's not exclusively orchids. There are other things just to do with me, the life, my life and universe and stuff. So it's more like what you'd call a vlog really, but it is fundamentally orchids, but it will vary out into other places as well. I post the odd gardening video on here as well as my separate channel. Trips out now and again. We went to a carnivorous plant nursery, that sort of thing. So it's not only orchids. And recently I've tried to get my music room going again, because a lot of people have said they'd like something down that line. Anyway, just to say thanks for watching, thanks for comments, thanks for thumbs up, do it now, thanks for subscribing, and thanks for using the new hype to help boost the channel and individual videos, gives them a bit of a kick from YouTube's view. Right, so today is a relatively short video. We've got a new bloom opened. Couldn't possibly have opened yesterday for everything in bloom, could it? Had to wait till today. That's what happens with all. It's the same with shows. You'll get a fantastic blooming on a plant, and it'll go over a couple of days before your main show, or it'll open just after the show, and you miss it, sort of thing. That's just orchids. That's what happens. Yes, so we do have a new bloom that's opened, and we also have an unboxing, and we also have the dehumidifiers just decided to turn on as well. Anyway, I'll break off and then we'll come back when that's stopped and we'll have a look at the new bloom and then we'll do the unboxing. So I'll be back. Well, for those of you who saw yesterday's Everything in Bloom video, this should be predictable. This had to be the only bloom spike that was close enough to opening. And overnight, quite a few of the buds have opened. These are not large Coelogyne blooms, but they are very, very pretty blooms. Very. But you've got to get quite close. And that slightly sideways view is worth doing, because then you see the actual contours of the lip with the ridges and frilly bits. That's probably miles out of focus because we're handheld here. But yeah, these are incredibly attractive blooms. Lovely combination of colours. Well, I think they are anyway. Anyway, so that's the new bloom. So that's your lot on that front. Now we have an unboxing. And my little introduction becomes very relevant at this point, but I will have to put the camera back on the tripod. Taking it off the tripod I can normally manage without too much clatting and battering around, but not putting it back on. So I'll shut down and we'll come back on and open the box. Oh, take the money. No, open the box. Right, now it's obviously a big box. And we'll see what's inside. Don't mess me about, not this time of day. It's still early. Right, that's a large box to have to get rid of. But with next door away for a fortnight, we're into the second week. There's only my stuff going in the dustbin. So they're nearly empty because I don't have much rubbish. Oh, this is heavy. So double boxed, as is often the case with Amazon nowadays. Chuck that over there. So if you're totally disinterested, you can now walk away, because now you can see what's in the box. But I'm hoping to do a demonstration after we get them out of the box. Basically, we had a sound failure up in the music room, and I thought about replacing what was a surround sound system which used to connect up to the TV once upon a time, which I had a little external sound card on for the laptop to be able to use it, and it just buzzes. It's just got an incredibly loud hum, and I'm not prepared to put up with that. These better not have. So basically I thought, well, we'll replace that completely by getting a new pair of speakers. These are powered speakers, so they need to plug into the mains, which means they're amplified. So these are not just your normal squeaky speakers that sit on the side of PCs and laptops. They should give a pretty reasonable sound. Fingers crossed. But they do have a power amp inside, so they are active speakers, I think is the expression. But they're not going to stay very active in the box, are they? So let's see if we can get them out. And the idea is they will live down here, connected up to the laptop. And then when I want to do something in the music room, I have to take the laptop upstairs anyway. I'll take the speakers as well. And then I can listen to stuff properly. Now, why I've got a little bit of a session on getting this all going is the fact that they're away next door and I can make as much noise as I like. But time has passed. They'll be back this coming weekend. So having the place to myself that is passed. And the problem with that is that she's now given up work. So in the main she's around a lot more. I mean, he does work and the kids are at school. But she's around a lot more than she used to be. But nonetheless, when the car's not there, then she's not there. So I can time things around that. Right, so let's get them out of the box then. More batteries. Oh, remote control. I forgot. Yeah, I thought if I'm going to get some speakers for the music room, which won't get used very often at all, I just as well get a good enough set to actually have downstairs, so that when I'm listening to stuff on the laptop, even YouTube videos and things like that will sound an awful lot better than through the tinny little laptop speakers. Even though the quality of the speakers on my laptop is pretty high for laptops, it's still not good, is it? There's never any bass. Which it's almost impossible to have a decent bass sound with tinny little speakers. You need a decent sized speaker. So let's hope these do the job. Now, in theory, these are USB connection to the laptop, and obviously there's a cable between the two speakers. But that's it, that's all the wires that are needed. So we should be able to power these up pretty quickly. So that's the one that's got a little standard sort of sound type cable to just join the two speakers together. This has got on the side, it's got the mode, which is auxiliary, USB, and I don't know what that is, SO. I'd have to look it up, won't I? You've got volume up and down, and you've got a headphone socket. That would be an odd thing for me to use in the position where the laptop's got a headphone socket. So I'm going to make the sound come out of the laptop and go through the speakers and then put my headphones in there. But the sound that comes out of this is amplified, so it could be better than the sound that comes out of the laptop. And then on the back here we've got all the we've got an optical connection. I've never managed to get one of those going. I tried it on the TV. You've got the connection for the other speaker. Oh, you've got a micro SD card, so you can put sound recordings onto a micro SD cord and plug them straight into the speakers. And then it's got the USB connection, on-off switch, and the mains power. So all that on the back of the one with the amplifier in it. This has got a plastic film on the front. I'm not taking that off until I've got them in position. Now there is a bonus, because I've got what my son and daughter got for me a couple of Christmases ago, was a sound system for the TV. So it's a sound bar with a big subwoofer that sits under the shelf and 2 satellite speakers. Well, I use the satellite speakers for the laptop. So to set these up, those speakers can now go out of the way and be just for the TV. So they can sit either side of the TV and do the job they're supposed to do, because that's the higher level sound, you know, the higher frequencies. I put those 2 either side of the laptop because if I switch the laptop to use that sound system, it's Bluetooth, then I've got 2 speakers either side of the laptop. That's why they got put there, but they are part of the TV setup really, so they can now go and do their job, and these can take their place. And as I said, being effectively not having to have wires from the speakers to go somewhere, like to a separate amp or anything, it's just a USB cable. These are easily disconnected to take upstairs when I want to. So I don't suppose there's anything special about setting these up. You just plug and play. What's in a box? Well, we know, we've just opened it. I love it when they start. Well, I suppose that's a double check, isn't it? Right, so we've got sound cables, 2, yes, and batteries. That's for, as I say, that's for the remote. I doubt if I'll ever use that. Although, come to think of it, it would be handy for the volume. Oh, it's actually got treble and bass and the mode control on here as well, whereas there isn't a treble and bass control on the actual speakers, so you do need the remote. And then the mains lead, and then that lead just plugs the 2 speakers together. So that's reasonably straightforward. And then it tells me that there's a left and a right speaker. The sound that comes out the front is the same, but if you're reproducing stereo sound, having the left channel in the left speaker does actually make a lot of difference. You'd be surprised. You actually got your stereo channels going to the wrong speakers, that will sound strange because it's all, you know, the balance is all out. The one with the little light on, I presume it's a little light. Let's have a quick look. It looks like it's an LED. That is the right speaker, it says here, so it is identifying them. Yeah, so that's that. Then we got, that's just telling you what all the buttons do. That's explaining what the remote does. Fine, basic controls. Don't think there's going to be anything in here I need to know. Apart from those modes. What are those 3 modes? Let's have a look at that. When a USB, SD card or auxiliary cable is inserted, the unit will automatically switch to the correct mode and begin playing audio. So it looks like it does its own thing. On the speaker set, so that's this, Bluetooth and USB modes are indicated by a blue light. So what I could do is play music on my phone via Bluetooth direct to these speakers, I don't use my phone to play music, so that's the only other device I've got, but it's possible. This is a Bluetooth setup. You can use Bluetooth to play through the speakers. So I could actually just plug these into the mains and switch Bluetooth on the laptop and not bother with the USB cable to actually get the sound through. But the sound quality will be a bit better if it's wired rather than going Bluetooth. So that's that. And then if you want to switch modes, you can. That's good. And then there's the troubleshooting section. That's what I was after, specification. Mains power, that's obvious. Power consumption, 0.5 watts, standby mode. Dimensions, weight, speakers, 4-inch full range plus 1-inch tweeter, Bluetooth version, Bluetooth range up to 10 meters, compatible file types, blah blah blah. And it's got a 12-month warranty. And then you get, obviously, it's in foreign languages. I do believe these came from, what is that second language here? It's only got 2 in here. That looks, yeah, I think these did actually come from Germany. So given the Germans tend to make pretty good stuff in the main, they should be pretty good. So we don't need these cables at the moment, but I do need the batteries. Come on, come out. There we go. That. Right, that's that done. Right, I'll turn off now, and then we'll go in there. I'll try and get the tripod in such a position so that you can see what's going on. But prior to coming back on filming again, I'll get rid of the 2 satellite speakers that I've got set up at the moment, so I can get them and their wires and everything out of the way. So we'll get that done first, and then we'll come back when I've positioned these, which might mean moving some things around. So I'll be back. Right, we've got the old satellite speakers out and set them up as part of the TV sound, because that's the only place they'll get used now. Basically the TV has the soundbar system has a remote control, and all you have to do is press the on switch and the TV automatically locks onto that system. It shuts the sound off for about 3 seconds, and then the whole lot comes out through the sound system. So that's all set up and tested. However, this hasn't been tested, and in all those cables, guess what was missing? USB to USB, so I can't actually hardwire them, so we're going to have to rely on Bluetooth working, and I forget which way round you have to go. Does the speaker system have to find my laptop, or does my laptop have to find the speakers? As the sound originates from the laptop, I would suggest it's the laptop that has to find the speakers. So the speakers need to be on, and then I'll probably have to go into settings. But I'm doing this all from scratch. I haven't tested this, I haven't tried it or anything. So we get the laptop going. So that's on because I've been away so long, it automatically shuts down into standby mode. Password protected, obviously. Now we're going to need something to play that's not going to cause a copyright issue. So the best thing I can do is probably just play one of my videos. Now if I pick a, come on, wakey wakey, thank you. If I pick on a members only video, that's actually got quite a nice soundtrack at the beginning because it's a different startup. Those of you who aren't members won't have heard it or seen it, will you? But we'll play one of those. That way we should get some sound. So we'll get rid of that. Now I need to. I watched a demo on YouTube of these speakers. They talk to you. So listen carefully when I switch the power on. If I can find the switch without having to go round there. I think we might have to go round there. Oh, we could just turn it round, I suppose. Right, listen carefully. Apparently it should talk to us.
Bluetooth.
It's telling you what the connection is. Ah, marvellous. Right, so that's that. Now, let's have a think. Let's have a look at settings. Bluetooth and devices. Bluetooth, turn Bluetooth on. It's on. Add device. I don't think it's found that. That's my son's MacBook. That's my iPhone. And that is probably the internal, I don't know. There it is. Found it. Connecting.
Bluetooth connected.
I like that. It's reassuring to have somebody say that you've done it right. Right, so in theory, optimize my device for music. There we go. Voices, make them far away or present. We'll leave that alone. Bass is on full, trebles on full. Actually, we'll drop that down a bit. I like a lot of bass. Right. That's the laptop sound system, not the speakers. Right, back to here. Let's see if we can make a noise. Sorry about that. God's truth. Well, they are 60 watts. Hi, this is Roger. Thanks for dropping by. Welcome to another... That's very crisp. Insight or on the YouTube channel itself. So an all members video. That's not bad. It's infinitely better than the laptop speakers. Thanks for dropping by. Welcome to another members only. So there we go. This is for all tiered. Successful. And to take these upstairs, all I've actually got to do is unplug the mains plug, and because they're not wired, I've just got to lift them out and take them upstairs. So let's have a play with the just turning the bass up. Hi, this is Roger. And the treble. Quite pleased with that. Quite pleased with that. Thanks for dropping by. Right, I mean obviously that's just a piece of music on the front of a video added out of the YouTube library. We're not looking at high quality sound there, but from my point of view I do have one of these over here, which is a USB CD player. So I just plug that into the laptop, slide a CD in, and I'd be playing CD quality music then through what hopefully are reasonable speakers. Now obviously I can't demonstrate that because that would be a copyright straight away, because it's a, you know, it'll be a proper band actual original sound, but I am going to go and test that once I get offline. So there we go, something a bit different. This plug and play stuff is pretty good, isn't it? Because I know when setting up this soundbar for the TV, it took quite a long time to, you know, basically I had to set the laptop in find mode with the sound system off. Well, I didn't know that, so it was on, so it wouldn't find it for some strange reason. I had to turn it off and then turn it on again, and it found it straight away. But it's all faff, and obviously that's an older system. It's all wires, you know. If you could see under my flipping TV, it looks like spaghetti junction. Can't get a Hoover under there, it's just full of wires. But at least they're sort of out of sight, you know, it's not too bad. But yeah, we'll give that a test in a minute. So I'm very pleased with those, very pleased indeed. Not ridiculously expensive. I spent a couple of hours going through Amazon, because obviously once you spend a reasonable amount, well, an amount, you get free delivery, which is what I was after. Plus a controlled delivery, you do actually get to see the date. And you can choose a different supplier, different, you know, the same thing that you're buying but from somebody else, and get a different delivery date often, unless it's a Amazon only type thing. But yeah, so I got them on Amazon, free delivery, which given the weight, that would have cost quite a bit. It makes me wonder how they must be making a lot of money on some of their actually quite a lot of their parcels, to be able to deliver something in a box that big that's that heavy, because these are heavy, for free, you know. So they're losing money on that parcel, definitely. Whereas lots of other parcels, you know, where you've got like a silly little thing in an envelope and they charge you blinking $4.99, they're making a couple of quid, aren't they? So swings and roundabouts. But yeah, that was good. Very pleased with those. That now gives me more encouragement to get upstairs in the music room and make some noise. Now obviously if I'm working in the music room, the only thing that really makes a noise is the acoustic guitar. Everything else can go straight into the software, and what I listen to the software with can either be these or the headphones. So I can use these when there's nobody in next door and wind it up a bit, probably to listen to finished results, or, you know, heading down that way sort of thing. So that tracks blending together, they'll sound an awful lot better on full range speakers than they will on laptop speakers. So yeah, and in the meantime they sit down here and they will get used. I mean, I'm on YouTube, you know, looking at music videos a lot. Well, all I've got to do is hit the on button on the remote. Job done. And it'll obviously connect automatically. So yeah, that'll do for this one. I've been waffling a lot, but to say, new toy, Or toys, is that a toy or are they toys? I don't know. And I need to get back to work. Now, things coming up are not quite normal. The coffee is very normal. But things coming up, we have, tomorrow is Friday and tomorrow's video is pre-recorded. I recorded it yesterday, so it's ready to load. I will load it quite late in the day, even though it's all ready. That will give this one a chance to get a nice set of views. Once I post it. What is the time there? Oh, it's still quite early in the day. I wanted to get the box open. You know what it's like. I don't do excited. Literally, there's something wrong with me. It is a fault. I can't get excited. I don't do excited. I can get slightly elevated in an interested fashion, and that's as good as it gets. You know, even when I was into athletics and sports and things like that, you know, you run a 200 metres and beat somebody you've never beaten before. You know, great. None of this. I hate all that, and I don't do it. Even going to see live bands, you know, at the end of the number, good stuff. That'll do. So I'm not, you know, I'd make a good tennis fan, you know, in a live tennis match, where all that sort of stuff is not appreciated. You know, I've seen people get kicked out of grounds on TV for getting all, you know, for getting all football crazy, I call it, because I think with football you have to go to fan school. You actually have to go to a place to learn how to be a football fan. I mean, you could just wing it and go along and pick it up as you go along, but you've got to learn the songs, and some of those songs are specific to that club. Yeah, so you've got to learn the songs, you've got to learn the tunes, you've got to learn the words, and you've got to learn the gestures. Otherwise you're not joining in properly. And I'm sure some people go to football matches just for that. You know, if you stopped them in the middle of all the singing and the, you know, if you stopped them and said, "What's going on down there?" I think there's some football, but we're busy. You know, yeah? I don't get it. I just don't see it myself. I can remember a little story on the end. It's not a long video, I don't think. When I was doing my consultancy job, a team of us had to go out into a Welsh authority to actually install a lot of complicated software. We were there for 9 weeks, stopping in a hotel, and we were working 7 days a week. We used to be able to come home, like find a gap somewhere and go home to sort out some clothes and things like that. But the hotel did a laundry service, so it didn't even have to do that really. But yeah, we were there a long time. And one Saturday afternoon, I was in there with 2 of the other guys, one of which I didn't know that well. He'd come from another team for a specific job. He was only there a couple of weeks. And they had a radio. Now I'm trying to work and trying to concentrate, and they've got a football game on. And when a goal was scored, they leapt on the tables and danced round and cheered and did all that. So I looked up and I said, "So is one of the skinny little weedy blokes with the frilly shorts on running about on the grass actually kicked the ball through that huge big goal?" And they went all blank and said, "Oh, you just don't understand." And no, I didn't. And they were annoying me quite a lot because I was trying to work. Especially I'd come in on a Saturday afternoon specifically. I needed to get something ready for Sunday morning when 2 other people were coming in that were relying on that bit being done. So, and that evening we met up with some of the others who were working in a different room to go to the hotel. We never used to go to the pub. It was better to just go back to the hotel. You could have a couple of drinks and just go back to your room. You know, you had to go back there at some point anyway. But we went out, and the guy who was one of the dancing on the tables guy, he suddenly started again in the car park. He said, "What the hell? Are you flipping listening to football on your phone or something?" He said, "No, I've won the lottery." He'd got enough numbers that in theory he could have actually won quite a lot of money, but it actually turned out it was like 600 quid. He was expecting like 60,000 or something, I think. Anyway, he got his money. Yeah, I digress. So yes, so tomorrow's video will go later in the day, and it will run on through Saturday because I'm away all day Saturday, and I will be filming. The weather sounds good, so I'll definitely be going. There was an orchid show last Saturday in Raysbury. It was the OSGB's annual show, at which they have a symposium for the judges. So this is a training session for judges, yeah? And apparently it was in quite a confined space, and about half the people have come away ill, and several of them have tested positive for COVID. You don't expect to get that at an orchid show, but yeah, it's just a reminder that it is still about. And Lynn was quite ill, so because she was apologising for not responding to emails and that, but I've been ill along with quite a few others apparently. So, but hopefully she will be there on Saturday, as that's part of her mini break with the dogs and her other half, Tony. So hopefully that will all go ahead. It should be good. But yes, I am going to go. Weather looks good, so I should be able to have a look around the gardens and do some filming there as well. It should be autumn colours, basically. It should be autumn colours on, you know, some of the trees, the maples and some of the others, and there might be some autumn flowering cyclamen in places, but there should be some things to film. There's a lake, you know, I always like being near water, so I should get some videos out of the visit, as well as hopefully coming home with some new orchids, funds permitting. But we'll see how that goes. There are a couple of traders there that I haven't seen before, so we should, foreign traders. So we'll see how it goes. And then the Sunday chat will be a normal Sunday chat. It'll probably be a report on Saturday's day out and unwrapping the new orchids. So that takes you up to Sunday. Monday's my day off, and I'm hoping that they've been on holiday for 2 weeks. Now he's probably back at work Monday morning and the kids are back at school. So she is highly likely to have to go out and do shopping because they won't have any food in, will they? Well, they won't have any fresh food or anything. So she's probably going to do a big shopping trip, which means I can get up in that music room with me speakers and make sure everything's working. So that's a possibility for Monday, which I will have. It'll be difficult to film in there. You couldn't swing a cat in there, really. It is quite a small room. I wouldn't want it as a bedroom. You get in bed with a door handle, like, you know, it's a bit small. But I managed to get everything in there. It's the drum kit that takes up the flipping room. But yeah, so we might have a go at that on Monday, and then we're into next week where everything's sort of undecided. Anything on the calendar? We've got a members video halfway through next week. Around midweek, Wednesday, Thursday, or it won't be Friday because Hannah's down for that weekend. We've got the coach trip to Burnham's, so I'll be filming there and hopefully perhaps a few more new orchids. So yeah, that's what's coming up, and thanks for dropping by and all that, and I'll see you next time. Now I've got to get up and go round and turn the camera off. I was just getting comfortable as well. Right, see you next time. Bye for now.